Hi everybody, Armine Bazikian from Bazikian Law Group. This month I wanted to answer a question that I get all the time, which is, what is an estate plan and how much does it cost? The part 2 of the question. So I wanted to address these questions because they come up a lot. So an estate plan is a legal term that refers to actually a group of documents that come together and form your plans for the future for your family. So a comprehensive estate plan, a really good estate plan, will cover 2 scenarios in life. The first being death. If you were to pass, they would let your loved ones know what's going to happen next. And the second one, the second scenario would be incapacity. So if you were mentally or physically disabled, they would allow your family to carry on and help you out without going to court. So they cover 2 scenarios, death and incapacity. And it is not just one document. A lot of people think that an estate plan is a will or a trust, but an estate plan is actually literally a plan. It's a plan that covers these 2 scenarios and addresses various things that might happen and how you want them to be handled. So it's a series of legal documents that we put together and we create an overall plan for you. So the backbone of an estate plan is what a lot of times you hear called a living trust or a revocable trust. So the trust is the backbone of an estate plan. It allows your loved ones to carry on if something were to happen to you without going to court. So if you were to pass on, they would distribute your assets and administer your trust without getting the probate court involved. If you were to become incapacitated, you were mentally not able to do things for yourself, or you're mentally there, but physically you just can't do things for yourself, it'll allow the next person that you've designated to step in and do everything that you would have done for yourself without going to court, because you've already pre-planned who's going to be in charge. So the living trust will allow court avoidance, so to speak. The second document is actually a will, and a lot of people think that if they create a living trust, they don't need the will anymore, but on the contrary, the will is still going to be there. It's going to be called a pour-over will, and it's going to be used in the rare scenario where you forget to put something in your trust. We can utilize the will to actually pour it into your trust when you're gone. So it'll still include a will, and then there's going to be a series of power of attorney documents. Now, the powers of attorney documents will cover different scenarios. It'll cover finances, there'll be healthcare power of attorneys, and there will also, which is very important nowadays, there will be digital power of attorney forms. So these powers of attorney forms will cover everything in your life if you are incapacitated. They actually expire at your death. So these powers of attorney forms are only good during your life. If you're incapacitated, or hey, you just can't get around to doing this at the bank, your wife will be able to use that document, or your husband will be able to use that document and go get something done. So the powers of attorney documents are another set of documents that are normally included in an estate plan. Also included are a series of other miscellaneous documents, and each document will be addressing a specific tax issue. So these miscellaneous documents will be designed to minimize different types of taxes and maximize the amount that ultimately ends up in the hands of your beneficiaries. So those are the types of documents that when we put together, we call an estate plan. But the most important part of the estate plan, it's a 2-part process. Number 1 is actually creating the plan, and number 2 is actually transferring the things that you own in this world into the name of your trust. And we call this the funding process or the transfer process. And without the transfer process, you're pretty much at square one. So even though you've created a trust, you better have moved things into the name of your trust. Otherwise, you did it for no reason. So you would take your house, literally your home, and you would transfer the ownership of your home into the actual name of the trust. You would take your bank account, do the same thing. You would take stock interests that you hold in a company, and you would do the same thing. So you would take everything under your name and you would pour it into this bucket that you've created called a living trust. So that's the two-part process of creating an estate plan, and then funding or transferring assets into your estate plan, into your living trust. So it's a two-part process. Always remember that. And the cost of doing an estate plan varies because every individual is completely different with respect to the types of plans they want to make for their family, and every individual has different types of assets. The cost is completely different from person to person. Contact our office and we can let you know exactly what the price may be to create an estate plan for you. Our consultations are free, so feel free to schedule a free consultation to go over your specific situation. And I look forward to hearing from you. Bye-bye.